All right, guys, so I need to give you an update on the war in Israel and Gaza. Of course, we discussed how there was a Hamas terror attack in Israel recently, a few days ago, and they targeted a large number of civilians. The death rate was very high. What a lot of people don't know is the reason they were able to get away with this is because Netanyahu and the IDF decided to use the IDF to defend illegal settlements and illegal settlers in the West Bank. So they were previously on the border with Gaza, and they were redirected to the West Bank to defend the settlers, and that left basically an opening where Hamas, and you saw the video, I'm sure, of Hamas breaking down part of their, high-level wall and getting in and just going on a rampage, and they hang glided to attack a music festival and all these horrific things. One of the reasons they were able to get away with this and be successful is because you had the IDF was redirected to the West Bank to protect the illegal settlers. Okay. So now look at where we're at. This is devastating. So this is casualties as of the recording of this. By the time this gets up, I'm sure the casualties will rise significantly and will continue to rise. So right now we have 1,200 people killed in Israel, 3,418 injured. In Gaza, there's 900 killed, 4,500 injured. In the West Bank, we have 21 killed, 130 injured. And in Lebanon, we have 5 killed. And so Hezbollah is getting involved to one extent or another. So in total, that is 2,126 killed and 8,048 injured. So I agree with this comment right underneath here. Everyone is losing. This is already ugly, and it's getting uglier and uglier and uglier as time goes by. All right, we also have this. There's more than 100 hostages that are held in Gaza, and Hamas is threatening to execute the hostages every time Israel carries out an airstrike on homes in Gaza without giving a warning. So oftentimes what Israel will do is they'll drop some sort of like pamphlet, or they'll make a call in Gaza to a place that's about to get bombed. And they tell them, get the hell out of there. If you're a civilian, this place is going to get bombed. Now, the part that's extra disturbing is there truly is nowhere to go in Gaza. It's an open air prison. They're basically stuck in there. And is there anywhere that's really safe? Well, we know the answer. Empirically, the answer is no. I'll get to more on that in a second, because there's a certain place they're going, a UN shelter, and even that's not safe. Okay. But now Hamas is saying, well, we have all these hostages. We'll execute them one by one for every airstrike that, hits civilians, every unannounced airstrike. Oh boy, this is bad. This is all very, very bad. Then we have this. So the bombing, of course, is underway, and Israel is hitting all sorts of targets that, every time they do these bombing campaigns in Gaza, they hit these targets, and it's devastating because these are not the correct targets. An Israeli airstrike kills 19 members of the same family in a southern Gaza refugee camp. Israeli airstrikes hit marketplace and mosques in Gaza, killing dozens. The strikes also hit 2 hospitals, schools, and infrastructure, the UN said. And so I believe one of the mosques that was hit was like the 3rd oldest mosque in the world. And it was effectively bombed to smithereens. So you have all these targets that are getting destroyed. So we have this too. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel has only started their mission to destroy Hamas as the Gaza Strip continues to get obliterated by airstrikes. Quote, what we will do to our enemies in the coming days will reverberate with them for generations. Airstrikes from Israel have destroyed nearly 800 housing units and have severely damaged over 5,000 more. All right, so let me pause here to say the counter-argument from Israel is oftentimes like, well, the reason why we hit this school or this hospital or whatever it may be is because Hamas actually stores their weapons there. And it's like a Hamas command center, and that's why we're doing it. But then you also see these numbers and you go, were all of the 800 housing units that you bombed, were they all Hamas command centers? The 5,000, the 5,000 housing units that you severely damaged, were they all housing Hamas? it just seems like a very convenient get-out-of-jail-free card for Israel to, in return to getting their own civilians killed, kill civilians on the other side and still claim, hey, we have the moral high ground. Children in Gaza have been caught in the crossfire, as nearly 50% of the total population in Gaza is children under 15. I thought it was 18. According to the UN, nearly 200,000 of the 2.3 million Gaza residents have left their homes. Now, again, they don't really have anywhere to go. They don't. Again, more on that in a second. So here we have, by the way, this video, which I'm about to show you, you know who tweeted this out? Netanyahu originally tweeted this video out to show what they were doing in response to the Hamas attack. Look at the damage. So this is the damage in Gaza. Absolutely horrific damage. Look at that. So I think the death rate in Gaza is going to absolutely skyrocket. We're almost already at 2014 Operation Protective Edge casualties on the Palestinian side. And like I said, I think it's going to get higher and higher and higher. Then we also have this. Israeli airstrikes hit the only land exit from Gaza into Egypt. There's also video of this as well. So Egypt controls one of the borders in Gaza. Israel controls the rest. And, you know, when they say, hey, get out, we're about to level this place, I guess the only place Palestinians feel like maybe we have a chance is to go through the Egyptian border. But Israel bombed that exit, further trapping people in there. All right, more. No refuge. Over 180,000 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are packed into UN shelters as Israel pounds the territory of 2.3 million people. Residents say there is no escape from the bombings. The UN says a shelter was hit directly and 5 others damaged. See, this is what we mean when we say Netanyahu was saying, hey, you got to get out of there if you're a civilian, and there's nowhere to go. They go to these UN shelters, and some of the UN shelters get hit. All right, more. Gaza's only power station has stopped working after the fuel needed for generating electricity ran out. The power plant shutdown comes days after Israel ordered a complete siege of the Palestinian enclave. So we're already at the point where they have no power. And I'll give you that quote again. We've talked about this a number of times. Israeli defense minister orders siege on Gaza, quote, there will be no electricity, no food, no fuel. We are fighting human animals, and we will act accordingly. So look, man, after the Hamas terror attack, where these innocent civilians were targeted, every reasonable person is going to condemn that. And they're going to support justice. What is justice? Finding the perpetrators who did the crimes, who did the terrorism, and bringing them to justice, right? That's the correct answer. Instead, what we're getting is, in response to collective punishment from Hamas against all Israelis, Israel is saying we're going to do collective punishment of all Palestinians, particularly Palestinians in Gaza. It is ugly. Like I said, it's ugly. It's only going to get worse. And Israel is, of course, being cheered on by U.S. politicians, by Joe Biden, by European countries. And look, man, I guess the thing that drives me the craziest is the sectarian thinking, the generalized thinking, the sloppy thinking, the tribal thinking. Because, like, you can't look at a situation where Israel responds to civilians getting slaughtered by them slaughtering civilians and act like, well, they had it coming. No, they didn't. Not all Palestinians are guilty of the crimes of Hamas, and they're being treated like they are. And so it ain't right, man. This is not right, and it's only going to get worse, like I keep telling you. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.